Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the PlayStation 2 and Wii version of Sonic Unleashed. In this part, well, get ready, because as you can probably tell by the length of the video, we have a loss of werehog. Two levels are currently available, and the first thing we're going to do is, may as well, just get the werehog out of the way first. So we have Rooftop Run Night, and in order to gain access to it, we need to speak to Lucia and Ippolita. That's how I'm going to pronounce their names. Because it turns out that Otto, the old man, is a temple guardian in this version. He's pretty much useless in the HD version. He doesn't really do anything. And he always refers to Professor Pickle as the Pickle. I don't know why, but they do know each other in the HD version. In this version, Otto seems to already be familiar with Sonic, even though we never interact with him beforehand because the option isn't there in the hub world. But he seems to instantly know who Sonic is. I don't know, maybe he just heard. I mean, Sonic is a world-renowned hero, isn't he? That's what he's described as in Sonic Adventure 2. And by speaking to Denise, she will give us our soundtrack for Spagonia Night. And it sure is a massive convenience that one of the Gaia Temples just happens to be in Spagonia. Boy, isn't that a coincidence. It just happens to be in Spagonia. Right where Professor Pickle's lab is, and yet somehow nobody seems to know that this is here. Even though the entrance to the Gaia Gate is right there at the top of the... according to the HD version, it's right next to the university. It is literally just off to the left, well, it depends what way you're facing it, but just off to the side of the university, and nobody knows it's there. It's like, how? How do you not know about this? That's what I don't get. It's that in the SD version of this game, we have these temple guardians. None of them really do any guarding. It's like, most of them don't do anything. I mean, they are just normal people. That's why they send Sonic up to do it. But it's like, why are you the Temple Guardians if you're not really guarding anything? Because when we see in some of the later ones, they're clearly not looked after. Like, Adabat, it's in the middle of a jungle. It's got plants overgrowing the thing. And it is on the verge of collapsing. You know, this one doesn't look too bad. There are torches lit up. There are fountains there. But some of the others... even in, like, again, it's Adabat. Not only is it overgrown with plants, it's flooding in the middle. And I think one of the others is flooding as well. I think. Or maybe it isn't. And then, like, Holoska is all frozen. I mean, that's to be expected. It's going to be frozen, which is not good because that thing, it will collapse. After a while, that thing is going to collapse with all of the ice. It's like, they don't really look after many of these Gaia Gates, and yet, according to Gregorius, the Apophis one is one of the village's biggest tourist attractions. And yeah, we see that's one of the biggest medal quotas that we need, 95 and 69. I think I may have mentioned this before. And unfortunately, I have to say it, you need 69 medals. The developers really loved the number 69. I guess it's because I did try. You cannot get 69 medals without fighting Dark Gaia. Dark Gaia, at maximum, I believe, is the 69th medal. I think I did get stuck at 68. And I was unable to get any more without facing Dark Gaia. So, he is medal 69. I guess they just wanted you to have a bit more post-content. Even though it's mostly just going to be for the collectibles. There aren't really many more missions you can do post-game because, well, if you do decide to leave Eggman Land and sort out all the stuff after that, you're gonna have, I think, 68 after Dark Gaia. You'll have 69 moon medals and about 101 or 100 or 101 sun medals out of 103. This version has 71 moon medals and 103 sun medals. So there's not really a lot you're going to be doing post-game anyway. Most of it will just be collecting all of the stuff in the Gaia Gates, Gaia Temples, whatever you want to call it. But every single one, other than Apophis, has at least one door that requires 69 moon medals. Adabat has 3 out of 4. Spagonia has 2, I think the rest all have 1. I don't know why. I guess they just wanted you to do more post-game for some reason. Even though you're not really going to be doing much else after that. So now we're introduced to the Dark Bats, I believe they're known as. I think we've seen a couple of these before. So there are blue ones. These guys come in 3 colours. There are blue ones, which simply just hover around. Sometimes they will like fly forward and backwards. Other times they just hover in place. Some will fly up and down. Okay, that thing is clearly floating above the switch. That should have pressed it downwards. But that's all those ones will do. You can't hit them. I think they give you like 1 piece of health, but then they immediately just come back again. The pink ones are the Dark Bat Snipers. So these guys will charge up and attack, and then shoot at you, and it's a very quick projectile. In the HD version, the projectile is much slower, but there's no visible wind-up. You know, it is timed. They do it after a certain amount of time, but you get no warning. Like, there isn't a glow, there isn't a sound effect, it just happens, and that is really annoying, because there is one in Eggman Land in particular, because I, for one, am terrible at timing. And there's one in Eggman Land that has cost me the S rank on multiple occasions, because I have to jump from one, so I can time that one perfectly, but by the time I get to the second one, he's gonna fire. And it will fire when you are grabbing a hold of them. Because you can grab a hold and ride them. And that includes all 3 colorations. The last one, which I don't think we'll be seeing until Jungle Joyride, is this electrical one, the Thunderbat. And that thing, at first it will surround itself in electricity, so Sonic can't touch it or he will get stunned. And then it will do the same thing. It will charge up and attack. It will eventually fire. So it works in like a pattern. But it only happens once, but there is a point where Sonic will need to grab a hold of that electrical one and swing around on it. Thankfully, I don't think it ever uses the projectile attack. That particular one, I don't think it does, but I don't usually try and give it. I don't usually wait to give it a chance. I wait for it to do the first attack, and then I just go. So most of Rooftop Run's night stages, and by most I mean 3, they're pretty short. This is the long one, really. So this one you have 8 minutes, the next one is 6, the last one is 9, but you can beat it in, I think I beat it in under 6 minutes. It's really easy to do. This one is probably, yeah, I will say it's probably the hardest to fully complete in one go out of all of the Werehog's missions. Like trying to collect every single item within the 8 minute time limit, it's quite difficult to do. And it's all because of the ending section, which we will be seeing at the end, at the end of the level. Oh, it's... I mean, it's not Notre Dame, but this couldn't be of worse timing. And I think Spagonia is supposed to be based on Italy, but regardless, oh, bad timing. Completely unintentional bad timing. I mean, I recorded this before the fire. Oh, how I hate killer bees. And these aren't even the worst ones. We still got the red ones. I can't remember when they come in. I think it's when we get to our 3rd werehog stages in Dragon Road. I think that's when we start getting introduced to the red enemies. Like, enemies in Sonic Unleashed, the Dark Gaia minions, when they get stronger variations, they are for some reason red. It's one of those games where the stronger variation is a different colour. There's a lot more of them in this version. There are some red variants in the HD version, but generally there's a lot more of them here. Like, it's only this version, weirdly, that has the red nightmares, which I'm surprised about. Like, the HD version, it has red killer bees, it has the red Rexes. And I think it has the red frights, I'm not sure. Whereas this version, almost, I think Big Mother is, and the Masters. The Big Mothers, the Masters, and the Bats. I think they're the only ones that don't have a red variation. Like even the strongest ones, the Titans, even they have a red variation. And they are strong. They generally, I don't know if they can withstand more damage, or I think they just have a bigger health bar. So this is why this level can be quite tricky. So they want you to stay on the rooftops. We actually get to do a bit of rooftop running for a level that we mostly take place on the ground. And that includes the day stage as well. But you do have to come down to the floor in order to get some items. So there's one just here. I think there's 2 in total. But there are 3 areas where you can get to on the ground. So there's this, and then they're each blocked off by a fence. The second one doesn't have any item boxes on it. I think there are some Dark Gaia Force capsules, so you might want to grab those just to help. You do get some force for defeating the blue bats, but I wouldn't bother because you get such a tiny amount. And really, they're just going to respawn anyway. So no, you can't really abuse it because it's such a tiny amount. If you hit triangle in the air, the werehog does have another aerial attack. It's pretty much just an aerial werehammer, only Sonic doesn't actually slam the ground. So you can come down here, but I think... Actually, is there anything down here at all? Is there anything down here? Nope, it just exists. There's not even a Dark Gaia capsule. There's not even a Gaia Force capsule down here. It's literally pointless. It just exists. I mean, it'd be a bit weird if there was, like, nothing down there, but there was for everywhere else. Eventually I'll be able to take these guys down in one hit, but we're a bit away from that at the moment. So we got the final one just down here. There's our Dark Gaia capsule, and then you just go around the other side, and then we'll get our... well, it's not our last item box, actually. There is one more in this stage. So jump over these things. Grab that. And now they do kind of trick you with this last one. So back when we did our first nighttime mission in Apotus, the Moonlit Town, right at the start we could turn around and there was a hidden alleyway just off to the right that had the first item capsule in it. And there is a secret document, which you have to find the item capsule for, in order to tell you that it's there. I believe this one does it as well. So you can just see there's a bit of space just next to the goal ring, and what we can do is go past the goal ring and come down here. I didn't need the secret document to tell me this. I did not know you could do this. That's all that's here. See, I think the analog stick is really sensitive for making Sonic slide down these things. At least it looks a lot less painful than when you slid down poles in Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, he did that right on his groin. And it is painful to look at. And, you know, Shadow doesn't even have anything down there. But it is painful to watch, regardless. So that's probably the hardest of all of the night stages to collect every item on and get the S rank. Some of the day stages are much harder. But in terms of night stages, that is probably the hardest. The next two, not a problem. Like, even though the next one is only 6 minutes, Jet Black Backstreets is really short. And then the final one, the Great Aqueduct, it's a 9-minute time limit, but yeah, you are going to get that so easily. Because again, I beat it in under 6 minutes. It's that easy to do. So you got a new daytime mission in Apotus. We'll get to that in the next video. Right now we're just going to continue on with Rooftop Run. So now it's time for a Jet Black Backstreets. Again, this level is called Rooftop Run, but we are not running on many rooftops. In the same place as the day stages, you run across. I can't pronounce the word. You do run across several rooftops in the HD version in the day stage, but there are also plenty of times when you're just on the road. In this version, you barely run across any rooftops. It happens, but not much. There's one section really where you run on the rooftops. The rest of it, you're on the floor in a stage called Rooftop Run. And again, one stage is called Jungle Joyride, and I have no idea what that means. I mean, all the others, I guess, kind of make sense. We have some Dragon Roads. A cool edge. What on earth does that mean? Cool edge. The cool, I get, because it's really, really cold. Because it's in Holoscuff. I don't know what edge means. This isn't the edgy game. We've had the edgy game. That came out like 3 years before this. We wouldn't really get anything in the way of edge until, oh, what's his name? The bad guy from Sonic Forces. He's that forgettable. Infinite. That's it. So he gets to. You think with Infinity War it would not be that forgetful, but Infinite Steam. That would be the next time we get really edgy in terms of Sonic. And that didn't come out until 9 years after this. So being so short, there aren't really that many item boxes in this stage. I guess they wanted to make up for how many of them there were in the previous one. How you get that secret key, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's an item box, or if you just get it for collecting all of the item boxes, or for getting all of the medals. I don't know. They just pop up. So, again, I don't know if they are items, if they're a different way of unlocking them. One thing that still puzzles me to this day, because I never found out, is on my first playthrough, I didn't 100% this game. I got stuck at 68 moon medals. I must have missed an item somewhere, and I don't know what item it was, because I got all the S ranks, but I still didn't I was still missing one of the moon medals, which meant that I couldn't go into the Gaia Gate to get the rest of the missions done. And I'm thinking, how am I supposed to get this? And then on my second playthrough, I did it. So I don't know what mission I was missing. And who on earth? How do people even live around here? Like, somebody must live in these houses. They have to deal with this every day. I don't know what one I was missing, but I always get very tense when I finish Eggman Land, and I'm like, oh, do I have enough? Do I have enough? Do I have enough? Because I tend to try and get everything done that I can before going into Eggman Land, I expect to see it say that I have 67 moon medals when well, I can't actually see the medal count, so I expect to see it say once I've beaten Dark Gaia, unless I have to stop. It should say either 67 if I haven't beaten him, or 68 if I have. And then I can go and do that last day mission in Eggman Land. And that should be it. That should be 69. Seriously, who set this all up? I mean, you can say that all the time. It's like, how does Eggman expect to get around his own bases when he's got, like, buzzsaws and slicers and tubes and electricity? Especially Skybase Zone in 8-bit Sonic 1. For some reason, Sonic's swinging physics sort of messed up a bit here. Yeah, I was clearly at the peak of my swing, and now he keeps turning around. I could double jump backwards, but Sonic's jump is so awkward to control here. I do like how you're swinging, Sonic's hands just clip through the pole. Just like that, just go right through the pole. I mean, there are two different coloured switches in this version. The green one Sonic can just step on and they'll remain permanently down. But the one I had to put that crate over, that was a blue one. They always need to have a permanent weight on it, otherwise the switch is just going to come back up again. So usually there will be an iron crate around that you just have to rest that on, and that will allow you to... that will activate the switch. And you have to keep that thing on it in order for it to work. So there's I don't know why that's a thing here. That doesn't happen in the HD version. You just step on the switch and that's it. Trying to step on the switches I find this to be quite awkward, because they do have like a hitbox that's slightly taller, because, you know, it does stick out the ground. So jumping on it and walking on it, Sonic does tend to get stuck at times. And I think I just unlocked a new movement. Was it the beatdown? It's probably the beatdown, which I don't think I've even used at this point. I don't think I show it off in the next level. You slam enemies to the ground, back and forth, and if you hold down the button, Sonic will end it with a super slam to the ground. It is something you can do in the HD version again. Just an alternate to the throw, and you can hit other enemies that are in front and behind Sonic. Generally, it's pretty useless, because most of the time the enemies are probably going to be attacking Sonic from the side. So it's not really useful. So I guess since this level is a great aqueduct, does this one count as a rooftop run? It's not exactly a rooftop, but we do run along the top of it. So this level is pretty much just one of those Gaia key hunts. So we'll open up right at the end, and we just got to find all three. There's one, that's an item box. We're not going to be getting that item box for a while. So what we need to do is we need to get to the top, which requires us to go along one... it's like a two-layered aqueduct. So we have all this stuff further down, and right at the end is where we can get to the top, and then we can run back along again. I gotta say, this thing should probably be fixed. Look at all these holes. Unless this was caused by the earthquake or by Dark Gaia's minions, the Spagonians should really be doing something about this, because that's probably going to kill somebody if it lands on somebody's head, especially when the entire thing begins to collapse. We don't go climbing inside any clock towers in this version. I hate that part of the HD version, because why does Sonic suddenly die when he falls down too far? Even when you can clearly see he falls down such a small distance that you see him stop. Like, he stops falling because he hits the floor. But we know he's capable of falling from much greater heights, but no, for some reason there it becomes a death plane. After a certain amount of time. And in this version we can jump down the whole waterfall and we'll be perfectly fine. I guess it's because it's this version. Which I believe was at least partially developed by Dimps. Like Sonic Advance, Sonic Rush, Dimps. I don't know how much of it they designed, and even then I think it was actually the night stages they designed, which is odd because you think they created Sonic Rush. You'd think it would be the day stages that they would be the ones working on, the boost stages, but no, apparently I think it is the werehog that they designed. I'm not exactly sure how much of a role they played in this version's development, and how much of Sonic Team and all that. I don't know, and I imagine that even though it probably wasn't all of Sonic Team. If they're making two versions of Unleashed, Black Knight was also approaching the end of development at this time. So, you know, they are technically working on 3 games. It's just this version didn't quite require as much as the other two, because the plot's the same, the cutscenes are just pre-rendered versions of the HD game. You know, you still have to do all the programming, and design the levels and all that sort of stuff. Certain enemies are exclusive to this version. Don't fall down. There is a bottomless pit. Well, no, there is a bottom. You can see the bottom of Spagonia. But, you know, it's a long way down, and you will die if you try to. Talking over the werehog. Now, how am I supposed to manage this? Let's see. This is the second set of werehog missions. We still have Dragon Road, Cool Edge, Arid Sands, Jungle Joyride, and Eggman Land still to come. And they're going to start getting bigger when we start getting 4 and eventually 5 werehog levels in a row. Now, how do I talk my way through this? That's going to be interesting. You know what? Still not going to be the worst. If there's one Sonic game that I still don't know how on earth I'm going to Let's Play it, it's Shadow the Hedgehog. I do not know how I'm going to play that game. You know, I did Sonic Heroes. I did that live. And I did that live. I struggled to talk over it because I was essentially playing the game 9 times. I had to talk over each level 9 times for all 4 teams. All of their missions, all their stories, all their extra missions. Team Sonic Super Hard Mode. But the thing with Shadow the Hedgehog is that you're not playing through individual character stories. You're going for 10 different endings. But you still have to do like Westopolis 10 times. You have to do Glyphic Canyon and Digital Circuit and Lethal Highway several times in order to get every single ending. And there's just, what routes do I take? Now I can take the straightforward routes, like there's a neutral route, there's the do 2 dark missions and then all neutral until the end. There's all dark, there's all hero and stuff like that, but that's going to get me 5 endings. How do I get the other 5? Do I showcase them off? Because I would have already have shown off every level by that point. You know, I can do some different missions, but not all of them, and it still means seeing Westopolis 10 times. What I think I'd just do is I would showcase 5 routes, and then just get the rest off screen, and then I can just like showcase all of the alternate endings. The cutscenes before and after the final bosses. Like, just through the library. Yeah, that just quickly showcases off all of the rest of the endings rather than playing through the game 10 times. Because again, I'll still be almost 100% in the game. Because I'm still going to go back into every single level to showcase how to get the A rank on every mission. And probably showcase where all the secret keys are in every level. And there will be expert mode at the end. The only thing I won't do is finish the library. Because that requires playing the game 326 times. Which is not happening. Okay, so now we're introduced to well, we were introduced to the that's a Fright Master. So Dark Masters exist in various forms. Some are exclusive to specific versions. We've seen them spread across this game. So the two most annoying ones, which are among the worst enemies in the game, not going to be seeing until we get to Arid Sands and Jungle Joyride. But there are 4 variants. There's a purple one, which just hovers around, it doesn't do anything. Fright Master summons Dark Frights. There's a Fire Master, which is covered in fire and will stun Sonic if it hits him. And there's a Lightning Master, which Sonic can hit, but when they teleport away, they will zap lightning at him very quickly, very, very accurately. They are probably the worst enemy in the game. And for the fire ones, we will need to throw a water barrel at them to get rid of the flames. And unlike the HD version, the fire has to be out to hit them. So like the HD version where you'll take damage, but you can still punch them, you do actually have to get rid of the flames. And they are fast. They have a super fast attack. Alright, so next up we have to go to Holoska. It's time for some day stages, boys and girls. Later. We unlocked a few missions, so we gotta go over and do them first. But after that, we're going to be doing our next day stage in Holoska. So I will see you guys then.